All right. So the USA, excuse me for the lighting here. Let me just fix that real quick. USA 2, Costa Rica 1. We got another 3 points. We're on 11 now. Is that right?
11.
11. Tim Weah with the winning goal, although technically it was an own goal, but, Weah did all the work on that. And he almost didn't start. Thank God that he did. Attack, how are you feeling?
Relieved, right? Relieved at the end of the camp because essentially now what's going on is we're halfway there to Qatar, right?
Right.
And we do have some PTSD from 2017. So there's always that little thing in our mind. Remember, so we're on track. We have a tough camp coming up. It wasn't the best camp that we needed, but I'm just shocked, Pete. I'm shocked. You know what I'm
What are
shocked
you
about,
shocked
Pete?
by?
It's amazing how when Greg's job is on the line, he all of a
Hmm.
sudden figures out who his best players are. It's shocking.
Interesting how that works, huh?
It's like magic.
Magic, 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 magic. What I was really impressed with today was both the quality of the player on the field and also the mentality and the attitude of the guys on the field. They, especially in the second half, first of all, in the first half, they didn't panic, right? They could have panicked when that goal went in and dropped their heads or, played tentatively or nervously. I thought they didn't. I thought they responded really well. And then again, in the second half, for the first 15 minutes, we looked a little shaky, but they kept at it and they kept doing the right things and they were rewarded,
Mhm.
and I think that was really good to see. So the quality together with the attitude and the mentality, I think really came up big for us today.
You know what I felt today, Pete, also throughout the game was, I mean, I was nervous in the sense of getting the result, but the way we were playing, I was more calm than normal because I was seeing it. It just felt like we were going to win the way we were playing. It's like, it's going to come. We're playing well
Right.
overall. So I wasn't too worried in regards to that rather than watching the Panama game, which was just frustration after frustration after frustration the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, we felt like we were going to win this game even after we, from the very beginning, even after we conceded that goal, our response told me, okay, we have the right mentality for this game to find the win. And that was really good to see. Jeremy Parente says, man, do Dest and McKennie look so much more committed? A silly goal to give up, but what a great comeback and a lot of heart in it too. Yeah, there was a lot of heart in this game. It was heart and quality, You really saw the players being on the same wavelength most of the time. It wasn't perfect performance. These guys, this team has not played enough together, but you can see the potential. You can see the rhythms already starting to build if they continue to get reps and minutes together where this team could go, Goat Roldan. The Goat Roldan says Roldan and Leggett MVP for staying on the bench. Well,
Legit, not even the bench.
Leggett wasn't even on the bench. All right. Does Greg get more out of Dest than Koeman? Well, so Jose, Dest playing against very different opposition in Barcelona than he does in CONCACAF. Let's keep that in mind. But yes, Barcelona's a little bit of a hot mess right now. That's a whole different discussion. Tack, you've been talking for 3 hours. Guys, by the way, like the stream if you haven't already. Smash that like button. This I hate to say it, Tack, but I think this told us a lot about the players who weren't on the field as much as it told us about the players who were on the field, And we'll get into the positives and the negatives from this game. And there are still issues and there are still questions we should be asking. And there are still areas that I think we can improve on. But it was a really encouraging performance,
I think the biggest thing here is so it's not about anymore if Greg learned. I think he showed that he knows who his best players are. The question is, are we going to see that nonsense lineup like Panama again? The second thing we need to talk about is next camp, there's only 2 games. So rotation should not happen. Play your best 11 both games.
And our first one is against El Tree, and that is going to be a fun game. But I agree with you. Yeah. We don't need this rotation nonsense. And even if we'll talk about that, but the rotation was a straw man argument from the beginning. Christian Petri says, great performance tonight, but we need a 10. When will Gio get his chance? Yes, Christian. And we'll talk about this. I thought one of the issues I had in the second half was that we only had kind of one way to really break them down, and in the end it worked. And that is, attack them on the wings. But I just think we need some variance in how we try to penetrate a back line. And I think playing with a proper 10 could provide us that variance. I think that ultimately when we have everybody available, McKennie and Musa are very similar players and they should trade off at the 8. But I don't And I'd be fine if we played McKennie, Musa, and Adams against Mexico. But I really do want to see Gio given his chance at the 10, because ultimately I think he is going to take us to the next level in that position. Will Fuller, better performance, proud of the young player's attitude, but puts Greg under pressure for his lineup against Panama. Why rotate but no Hoppy, Busio, LDT? Well, that's exactly it, Will. Is like, I don't think anybody had a problem with some rotation against Panama, and we talked about this in the previous game. Obviously, you needed some. I think it was the amount of rotation and who he rotated that was the problem, right? To put Leggett, Areola, Zardes, Roldan, and Acosta on the field at the same time was just terrible. And it cost us 3 points. And guys, as happy as we are about this win, this is still an underperforming camp, because we should have gotten at least 7 points, and we only got 6. But we'll talk about that. Ruben Valles, I'm 51 and have been a long-time US Nats fan. Greg is steering the ship in a real decent fashion. These matches are never perfect, plus results. I'm going to push back. I don't think Greg is steering the ship very well. I think that when he puts talent on the field, they find a way to get it done. But I think this team can still be better than it is. And let's be honest, that last loss was on Greg. So I don't know if we can talk about results going in Greg's favor. Jason Snags, my money is saved. Let's go, boys. Didn't you put like 600 there? Or 300, Jason?
He put 300 twice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So nice. Mark Mejia. I felt like De La Torre must be feeling really snubbed this window. He's played well, but never gets enough time. Yeah, that is, that was one disappointment for me. I wanted to see more of De La Torre, but Busio came on and showed well. I mean, what did you think of Busio's performance? I thought he was lively. I saw a real improvement from him compared to the Gold Cup. Did you see that?
Definitely improved. The only question mark I have is Costa Rica just kind of like they really went down towards the end of the game, right?
Sure.
So maybe that played a role, but he definitely looked better, and he's probably improving every day now, for sure.
Yeah. Our fool says, why was the starting 11 against Panama so bad? Triple G's logic makes no sense to try to start Paul Areola 3 times, but not actual difference makers each game. Yeah. Our fool. Look, we're going to talk about the whole camp, and on Friday we're going to record with a few other people and sort of look at the camp from a bird's eye view. In this game, we're going to try to focus on this. In this stream, rather, we're going to try to focus on this game, because this game was a positive. And we don't always get to celebrate the positives under Greg's regime. So we're trying to celebrate the positives here, although we will still talk about some things that need work as well, right?
Pete, you skipped the super chat on accident. I'm just going to read it for you from Brad Walker.
Yeah, I got it right here. I'm going back up over them. I saw what I needed from Musa, Jedi, and Adams. McKennie was a bit bad at times. Loved Pepe getting involved. Yeah, I thought McKennie was better in the second half than in the first half. I don't think he was perfect, but I thought he was really driving us forward in that second half. Musa was great. Tired a little bit in the second half, but when in the first half was excellent. Dest and Jedi were huge for us, right? Getting up that right-hand wing, putting crosses in, being a threat always. Put a superior lineup on the pitch, get a superior result. Thank you, Greg Busby. That's about as simply as I can put it. And not just a superior result, but a superior performance, right? Because it wasn't just, if you look at the result, 2-1, okay, it was a good win, a narrow win. But if you look at the performance, we dominated that game, right? We dominated from start to finish. And that was encouraging to see. Carlos says, Areola is MVP for faking an injury. So guys, we're going to answer super chats now. Feel free to hit us up with your thoughts, your comments, as always. Tiger Turner says, why don't people understand that in today's game, a keeper has to be able to play with their feet? It takes a lot of pressure off of everyone. Tack, you want to take that?
Yeah, it's what we've been talking about for a while, right? At first, when you have a goalkeeper that can play with his feet, you have an extra player, right, in the field right away. Second thing is you force your opposition's back line to be careful with line breaking, long passes. They need to be careful of that, and it helps with the buildup, and it helps for you to soak up pressure as well. So there's a lot of it that plays into it, and it's been hurting us because I'm not going to lie, I didn't think Steffen was good on distribution.
No.
So that disappointed me.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that, puts him ahead of Matt Turner in principle was his distribution. But today, a couple of times we saw him, try to clip balls into the wing and then it goes out. Not great. Alan Nicholson says, not a Triple G fan, but for the first time, I applaud his starting 11 and sub choices with Hoppy and Busio. A long time coming and still a ways to go, but happy overall with the performance. I agree with you, Alan. My problem is we don't know what Greg's going to do in the next game. Like, for all we know, Areola starts against Mexico, right? And that's kind of what's so worrying about having a coach like Greg is you don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get Panama Greg or are you going to get Costa Rica Greg? You know what I mean? What do you think, Zach?
So Reyna is probably out of the next camp, by the way.
Are we sure about that, though?
So there were reports that came out that he should be out for another 2 to 3 weeks. The next camp starts in less than 4 weeks. So it's not looking promising. That's what I'll say.
But was that report from Roger Gonzalez?
I think so. You think it's...
I don't trust that guy, though.
So let's wait. Let's wait and see what Dortmund will say officially.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Rangov says, who is our next best 6 not named Acosta? Do we need to use the ghost of Michael Bradley if we have to? Yeah, I mean, Acosta is the same problem, right? Inconsistent. Not today, he didn't play, but what we've seen from Acosta. I'd say the search for Adams' backup is still very much on. I don't think it's closed down. Like, I don't think Acosta is the locked-in backup. Do you, Tech?
No, I think we can try there, maybe even Musa at one point. And what we can also do is honestly try Busio too. I know there's issues with Busio's game there, especially in the physicality in CONCACAF. But I honestly, Pete, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of tired of Acosta. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired.
No, I am too. You can't have an unreliable player. If you don't know what you're gonna get, then that's a huge problem. Right? San Fran says, I'm so pissed that Hoppy, Busio, LDT, and Richards didn't play in Panama. We could have still rotated if that's what he wanted. Exactly. Those guys could all have played then and today. So, yeah, the rotation argument does not work, right? It just doesn't. Josh Herrera spent time leading up to this game wondering if Triple G bases his decisions on FIFA 21 ratings. He strategizes like it. Yeah, not a big fan of Triple G's tactical ideas, for sure. All right, let me continue with these super chats. Football King says, as a Mexico fan, I'm nervous to face you guys. Nice W. Thank you. And congratulations on being top of the table, unless you lose tonight, right? If they lose tonight, then we're technically top of the table, right? Oh, no, Canada won too.
Canada's 4-1. Alphonso Davies just scored again. They're rolling over Panama.
So Canada's still going to be ahead of us then, aren't they?
Probably, because the goal differential too, it's 4-1.
And no, they only got 5 points in this camp. We got 6. So we're going to be a point ahead of them.
Oh, you're right.
We'll be ahead of Canada. It's Mexico who plays. Who does Mexico play?
Mexico plays
El Salvador.
Away. And it's away, so not an easy game.
Not an easy game. That's at 7:30 my time, Pacific time. So I'm definitely going to be watching that. Stephen Nagishi says, so I read Leggett was not even in uniform tonight. He should be on the bench. Hell, his spot on the MNT needs to be in danger after Panama's debacle. This is what we've talked about, Stephen. If you have Gio Reyna, Weston McKennie, Eunice Musa, all right, Luca De La Torre, and Gianluca Busio, who can all play as those 8s, where's your need for Leggett? I know he had a good 45 minutes against Honduras, but a poor Nations League and a poor Gold Cup and a poor every other game that he's played in World Cup qualifying doesn't do enough to make up for 45 good minutes against Honduras, in my opinion. So I don't think we need Leggett. He doesn't even start for the Galaxy anymore. Now, some people disagree with me. That's fine. What do you think, Tack?
I don't think Leggett has to be in the national team. That's all I think. I think we have better options. It goes back to what we've been saying for months. It's what does Leggett do well? And no one can freaking answer that question. So they make up words like tempo chameleon, whatever the hell that means. What can he do well? That's what I want someone to answer me. What is he actually?
I'll tell you what he does well. He's very good at keeping the ball. But the problem is that keeping the ball mostly means backwards and sideways passes. And he's very good at slowing down a counterattack. He's good at that.
He's
not good defensively.
Only his team's counter. His team's counter. His team's counters. Yeah.
Defensively, he's not great. He doesn't do enough, guys. We have to raise the standard for what it means to play for the national team, especially with the player pool that we have. All right, Kobe Nash. Overall, we played well, but our 2 goals came from great individual performances, not creative team play. What can we do to create better chances? So Kobe, I'll push back a little bit. I actually thought um, we played well as a team today. Okay, there was a lot of movement, a lot of passing, a lot of combination. What we were missing was that final ball, oftentimes, and that's understandable when this team hasn't played together that much, right? This lineup, and so the understanding is not going to be there. But you see the potential as they play together more to get more reps to understand each other's movement and tendencies. I was actually okay with it. All right. And remember, the goal, the winning goal that we scored with Tim Weah, that was a result of what? Costa Rica giving the ball away unnecessarily. It was a poor mistake that we pounced on. And that's because we had wore Costa Rica down this whole game, right? We had the ball, always pressuring them, always moving, always making them react to us. And that's what I said at halftime in Filippo's stream, is if you keep doing that, boom, you're going to create, because eventually they're going to get tired, right? So, yeah, there's still concerns for sure. And we'll talk about some of that in just a second. We'll talk about things that we need to be better at. But overall, Kobe, I thought the team played well as a team today, if not perfect.
I also, just to add to that, before you can even move on to the next one, I'll just add to something real quick. One thing, the way to answer Kobe's question too is we could play with a creative player through the middle. That will change the way, it won't change creation of play. We'll still create through the sides, but that could provide some creativity through the middle. And if it's through the middle that he means, then I somewhat agree with him. We lack creativity through the middle. He's right.
Yeah, we need, well, I think what we need most is variants of ways to create. So you can't just rely on play it down the line and hope Weah or Aronson gets in a good spot to put a cross in, or Robinson or Des. We need more than that. That's great. That's fantastic. You also need somebody in the middle like Gio Reyna or Luca De La Torre, or maybe even Busio, who can create, right? Gerald Derakli says, who gets dropped for Brooks? Tough decision. I thought Richards and Robinson were both solid. I don't know if they had the understanding yet, which is understandable. You could see sometimes, especially on the chance that Robinson had to clean up where he passed to Richards and Richards wasn't expecting to pass. But he cleaned up okay. I would be fine with any of the two of the three starting. I think Richards needs more chances to grow into this team. Of all those three defenders, Richards has the highest ceiling. And he was good today in his first competitive start. I think he needs more starts, Against Mexico, we can talk about that later. Brooks hasn't been as, clean as you want him to be, but I don't think he's out of the rotation by any means. Unknown says, glad we got the 3 points. We need to do better, though. For sure. We can always do better. And there are still ways, like I said, that we'll talk about that we can improve. All right. Did I miss any super chats here? Jacob Loney says, Canada proving we could have done much better. Yeah, they're beating Panama 4-1. But are they at home?
They're at home, but still 4-1 is.
Yeah. We'll talk about Panama. Franklin Torres, Pepe to Wolfsburg, pretty much done. I don't know if it's just done or if that's just a rumor or a report. I'm not sure.
No
confirmation of that.
No.
Shout out to Twellman for saying that Ariola's injury was a blessing in disguise. Did he really say that?
Did he really?
I would be very surprised if Taylor Twellman actually said that. But let's just say I'm happy that Weah played. That's all I'm going to say about that. Adams and Weston on yellow. Why were they on late? Because who are you going to replace for Adams? Acosta? Nah, I wouldn't take the risk. You get the win. Neither Weston nor Adams got the yellow. They were disciplined enough to understand, I think. And that's what you have to trust your players at some point. You have to trust that both of those guys understand their role and understand you're on a yellow. You can't miss that Mexico game. So kudos, right? I have no problem with them staying on because I don't think maybe you could have brought on De La Torre for Weston, but there was no good sub for Adams. Aronson, this is for you, Tack. You take this one.
You think Aronson more as a winger or as a cam? So a 10, right? Attacking midfielder like he does at Salzburg, similar to what you want from Reyna. I don't. So if you want a 10, that will be a creative 10. That's not Aronson. Aronson, when he's a 10, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like a shadow striker. He's a shadow striker. That's the definition. 9. That's the word. He's a cam as a shadow striker. Now, Reyna would be a 10 as an advanced playmaker, essentially. So they're different. So for the national team, keep him at the wing. He's been fine there.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw him also against El Salvador as an attacking midfielder, and it did not work at all. not his game. Rotation would have worked if Conrad and Scally got called up. Any other young guys that could/should get the call in the next camp? Yeah, I mean, look, those two for sure, Scally and Conrad. And then obviously you'll have Pulisic coming back, and you'll have hopefully Reyna coming back. Early predictions for USA versus Mexico. I'm going to say we're at home, right? I'm going to say 2-1 USA.
That's not even a prediction. Right now, it's a guess.
Ruiz getting chased down by Miles was a metaphor for our youth versus Costa Rica's age. Now we need the core of this team solidified as soon as possible. Exactly, Chad. And the core gets solidified by playing together, right? You have to give them reps, you have to give them minutes, and you have to trust them. They showed today that despite a super young lineup, and they showed against Jamaica that they could get the win when it mattered, right?
That play was so funny, though. That play was so funny.
Yeah. But Ruiz, I mean, this is the problem with Costa Rica. We've talked about this, an aging team and no good replacements in their youth. I really like De La Torre and Busio as our eights behind Musa and McKennie. Is there a center back that could be Adams' backup from this current squad? From this current squad, no. But there are guys we could try there, and I think we should. There is James Sands, who we've never tried as a 6. I think he's deserves a look there. There's Tanner Tessman, who you could maybe try as a 6. And, there's, let's be honest, Musa could be a 6, Could we play a double pivot with McKennie and De La Torre? What about the kid from Denmark? I keep forgetting his name.
Christian Kappes. He's been playing for Brøndby as a box-to-box.
Right. I don't think we have a clear backup 6, but we might have to come up with alternate solutions to Acosta just because he's inconsistent and unreliable. All right. Last one. Let me get to these last few super chats, guys, and then we'll start talking about learnings from the game. Triple G is so full of it. Wanted to blame physical play for Panama loss, but left Miazga at home. Yeah, you can't take anything Greg says seriously, guys. Thank you, Walter. Chase says, the 3 points feels good, but would feel better if we got 7 or 9 in this window. Agreed, Chris. Ultimately, we still underperformed and kind of botched this window. That's just the truth. To be fair, Costa Rica looked and played old, and we took advantage of that. Sure, but you can only beat the opponent that's in front of you, right? Mm-hmm. And, these guys getting reps and playing well and finding ways to win against Jamaica and Costa Rica is encouraging for the future, right? They're going to need time together, these young guys, which is why we don't need to be rotating them with old guys, right, who are not good. We can be rotating with other young guys. We can still rotate with a young roster, right? That's the thing you have to remember about rotation. Real MLS quota, Pepe, Turner, Miles, and probably Zim. Yeah, we have no problem with MLS players as long as it's good players, right? All right, guys. So in case I haven't missed any, I have missed a few. Here, Dave. All right, Eric and Dave. Let's read these two. From the movie Annie Hall, people that I can't do, teach. People that can't teach gym. If they can't do that, they coach the U.S. soccer team. Yep. I thought Steffen was great with his feet today and his willingness to come out. I don't know, Eric. I thought his feet were a little poor. He didn't do it enough, but under pressure, I thought he had some bad balls. Did you?
I didn't think he was good in distribution. Nothing to justify to say him over Turner. Turner won the battle.
I think so. I think Turner should start against Mexico. Mm-hmm. Why does everyone forget Durkin? Yeah, Durkin could be a possibility. Maybe not playing at the best level right now over in Belgium. But I'm open to looking at him for sure, seeing if he could be a backup 6. Okay, so let's start with the positives, right? There's a lot of positives. Obviously, the win is a big one. I wanted to highlight the mentality of this team because, that early goal was crazy, right? And it was, we were a little disorganized in those opening minutes. But our response immediately after going down to that goal, it was all us. For the rest of that half, it was us nonstop with the ball, moving, combining, creating. The confidence was there. The belief was there. The intention, the hunger, the desire was all there. And that response from a young team to going down so early in a high-pressure game was really good to see. Okay? Mm-hmm. Your turn, Tack.
So I want to talk about the starting 11, and more specifically how something I like to say is experience in anything in life is important, but in this team, it seems like experience is used as a BS excuse very often by Greg Berhalter apologist. Greg Berhalter himself. If we look at the starting 11, Pete,
Mhm.
look at this. Dest, 20 or 21, whatever. Miles
Yeah.
Robinson, 24. Not
Yeah.
old, not experienced as well, right? By age, at least. Chris Richards, 21. Anthony Robinson, 23, if I'm not mistaken. Eunice Musa, 18. Tyler Adams, 22. Weston McKennie, 22 or 23. Timothy Weah, 20 or 21. Pepe, 18. Brendan Harrison turns 21 this month. So,
And it was almost that exact same guys who also got the win against Jamaica.
yes. So,
Right?
age, the number age in soccer, that doesn't mean experience, right?
Yeah.
Leggett is 30. Who cares?
Yeah.
They have enough competitive experience to play against any tough opponent. That's what we need to remember.
Yeah. Competitive experience and quality, right? Of course, there is a marginal benefit to experience, but when the gap in quality between a guy like, Eunice Musa and Sebastian Lletget, when the gap in quality is that large, the marginal advantage that Lletget has with experience doesn't even come close to making up for that gap in quality. And that's ultimately what matters. Let's not forget the team that lost in Panama, super experienced team. Let's not forget the team that failed to qualify for Russia was the most experienced team we had. It was a team full of veterans. So this experience BS has
Crap
to go out the window.
experience. They have
Huh?
experience with crap competition. That is what's important. They were older. There's a difference between age and competitive experience. If you get a guy with 10 years of experience in MLS and one guy with 1 year of experience in Champions League, Bundesliga, that is a different experience. That
Yeah.
is what they need to understand.
Yeah. And also Pulisic came into that team with no CONCACAF experience and was the best player by a country mile and was the only guy. If we hadn't had Pulisic, we would have finished bottom of the octagonal. Think
Well,
about that.
according to many, we would have made it with Leggett.
All right. So you're right. And that quality showed on the day, right? All the tactics, all that stuff doesn't matter if you don't have quality on the field. And on the field, we had quality today, and it showed throughout the entire game. So that was great to see. In terms of other positives, I thought the subs were good for a change.
Mm-hmm.
Usually with Greg, you're like, what subs are coming on? Hoppy got an opportunity. Busio got an opportunity. That was good to see from both of them. I thought they both had strong appearances coming off the bench. Zimmerman came on. I understood that sub because you're trying to defend a corner in that moment and you're trying to get the result. And he's a guy who is very good in the air. So, yeah, I liked the subs. Would I rather have seen Luca De La Torre over Zardes? Yes. But even Zardes, I thought, he worked hard and justified his sub. So that would be my thing. Triple G making the right subs for once. Another positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that too. His in-game management was better, right?
Yeah.
Who to sub, when to sub. Can he do it again? Time will tell. But
That
today,
is the issue.
yeah, evaluating today, yeah, there's really no complaints with Greg. The only complaint I would have about Greg would be that he was originally going to start Areola, right?
Right. It's true.
But that mistake got brushed off because of Areola's injury in the warm-up. So,
which was bizarre because 3 games. Like, when you talk so much about rotation and fresh legs, why would you start him 3 times?
Well, does he use logic very often?
No.
Okay, there you go.
I'm just saying it doesn't even match his own reasoning, And guys, let's keep in mind, there will be people in the mainstream media and in other places who will try to justify the Panama game by saying we won this game because we rested those guys. First of all, that whether or not that's true, we shouldn't sacrifice a result ever and just say, oh, this is a nothing game. Because what if we didn't win today? And even if we did win today, is 6 points out of 9 good enough? Is 5 points out of 9 good enough? No. Both of these windows, we underperformed in terms of results and in terms of performance, right? Remember, we still have the hard games coming up. 2 Mexico games, Canada away. So there's a lot to talk about. Your turn for a positive. Any other positive takeaways?
Well, there's many positives today, right?
Right.
Not always when we win, there's only positives, but today most of it was positive. I'm trying to think. I think Hoppy getting minutes was a positive. I don't think he was given enough minutes, in my opinion, this camp.
No.
But the little couple minutes he came in on the limited amount of time he had showed some sparks of what he can do. Almost had an assist to Ricardo Pepe on a freaking amazing save. I don't know how, 2 assists. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he had that other pass that Zardes
The
stole the
Busio.
ball.
Yeah.
Zardes stole the ball and gave it to him. So I think Hoppy getting minutes was another positive. Not enough, but he came in along with Busio.
Yeah. Yeah. Came in as a winger. At some point, I would like to see him as a pure center forward. But let's see, right? Positive somewhat in the right direction. I really liked that Busio showed better athletically than we saw in Gold Cup and was a little more intent on driving the game forward. That was another positive that I really liked because we've seen improvement from Busio since going to Italy, but I think it was evident today on the ball specifically how much more threatening he was than we ever saw him be at the Gold Cup. All right, look, Tack, let's start talking about some of the issues. Justin Lawson says Leon Flack deserves a look at the six. I think so. He's probably the truest six of our midfielders, pretty much a better Acosta at this point. I'd be open to seeing Leon Flack. Remember, we do have an MLS camp in December, so that might be a good time to try out another six.
Maybe January too, right?
Well, January, we may have a camp. I don't know, but we also have World Cup qualifying in Jan. Keep that in mind.
What Greg might do is he might start the camp earlier for the MLS guys, whoever he brings. He might bring some.
Just have a shorter camp.
Oh, so we play at the end of January, right? So maybe he'll start camp 2 or 3 weeks before, bring in a bunch of MLS guys and look at everyone. So maybe Flack could be there and a couple others like Paredes, and all of the other ones.
I wonder if they'll schedule a friendly too, just to get some of the MLS guys up to speed.
I'll be okay with that.
Yeah. Cyrus says, but can you believe it? Canada beat Panama 4-1. So shame on the USMNT for that. I don't see them winning against Mexico. They're still not done. You talk about the U.S. winning against Mexico? Yeah, but no one saw us winning against Mexico the summer either, and we did it twice, right? That Mexico game is special. It's almost like everything else goes out the window.
Pete, they don't. This is what I want American soccer fans to get in their head, and I know you guys will get this over time. When you go to different countries, there's this thing called actual soccer derbies. And when it's a soccer derby, a true derby, like Mexico and the U.S. is a true derby, anything can happen. Mexico can have a world-class team, and we can have our 1994 team. When we play, it's something different. It's a derby. Anything can happen. Don't ever think Mexico will just run over, especially now that we're in the same level.
Yeah. Matt Polster deserves a call up, top MLS central defensive midfielder. I haven't seen a lot of Polster as 27, so I can't really comment on that. He's with Revolution, right? Is that where he plays? New England? I think he's a New England guy. Mm-hmm. So, Isco. Yeah, go ahead, Tack.
My problem is this. It's Greg forcing the 4-3-3 with the 6, where he could probably try the double pivot one that would resolve this. Put Adams and McKennie or Adams and Musa, and then have a 10. And there you go. It's a different option to try it. But he just seems like it's this way he wants to go. It's this way we're going to go, and we're going to have to deal with it. That's the problem.
And exactly.
If Tyler's injured, which has happened a lot.
Yeah. We still have issues if we lose Tyler Adams. Let's talk about some of the issues, Tack, because I think that today, although we were good, we still looked very one-dimensional. And it is the issue you just brought up with the 10. We need more than one way to break teams down. And right now, it feels like get the ball to Weston and Musa, have them dribble through midfield, and then push it wide and put a cross in. Okay? And that's not necessarily bad. We've seen that be effective before, and it can continue to be effective. But also, you need a variance of ways to break teams down. And there were times where instead of putting the cross in, we could have given it to a guy like a Luca de la Torre or a Gio Reyna, both of whom can play at the 10. And not like there was nobody in this lineup who could break teams down with line-breaking passes, right? When there's a tight block, guys who can play in between the defensive and midfield lines, receive the ball in the half turn, that's something de la Torre can do. That's something Gio Reyna can do. Greg doesn't like playing with a 10. He doesn't like creative passers in his midfield. And I think that is still something that's an issue. And I think as good as this team is right now, or as good as they look today, When we face better opponents, we're going to need more variety of ways to break them down. And I think playing with a creative attacking midfielder, who with a guy like Gio, who is our best player right now, in my opinion, or one of our best 2 or 3, would help us a lot. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with everything you said that about the creative part, but the thing with Greg is you pretty much you like said what we should do, and you also said we're not going to do it at the same time, right? Because Greg doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't like players. So we talked about this so many times. Creative players lose the ball more because they take risks. Greg doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So unlikely, especially midfielders, right? Wingers he allows them to risk a little more, but midfielders he doesn't like them.
Yeah. I want to, yeah, your turn to highlight a positive or a question.
Negative.
I'm sorry. We're on issues now.
Issue. So to me, one of the issues was Zack Steffen, and not because he wasn't terrible, right? After the game, when he was tested, he was fine. But the problem with it is this, and this is what I was talking to my new BFF Alexi, right? My new BFF there.
Mm.
So having a goalkeeper that can actually play with his feet changes actually the way the entire team can play. It changes everything. It opens up more spaces. You spread more on the floor. The field gets bigger, wider, because the defense has to step back with line breaking passes that the goalkeeper can do. You can soak up pressure better. So it's something that could change the way we played. And unfortunately, Stefan disappointed. The distribution was not good enough to justify him over Matt Turner. The ball that Costa Rica scored, I know I'm saying something that I'm just speculating, but I think Turner would have saved that.
Yeah.
I think he would have. So to me, that was a negative because I was hoping for a goalkeeper that was good in distribution and solid on goal. Turner's still clear.
Yeah, I think Turner starts against Mexico. I can't see it, and I think Horvath should be given an opportunity at some point too. Ultimately, it's not that Steffen is finished or that we don't like him or don't need him anymore. It's just that I think Steffen needs to be playing regularly. I honestly think staying at Man City for a second season was a mistake. I think he needs to go out on loan somewhere and play regularly and get his confidence back up. Because we all know that when Steffen is, playing regularly, getting reps, playing well, he's a great keeper, both from a shot stopping perspective and with the ball at his feet. But since Man City, we haven't seen that. We really haven't. So yeah, that was an issue.
Wait, one more negative. Guys, please hit this video to 1,000 likes right now.
Yes.
This is a
How is
threat.
that negative?
If you guys don't hit it to 1,000, Rocco will not deposit our check. He hasn't deposited our check, and I will not release my tax returns until the entire USSF release the members, right? Not the USSF. We know their tax returns. The members release theirs. Until then, I won't release my broke tax returns.
So, for those of you who don't know, both Filippo and I have been accused in YouTube comments by the same dude of being paid shills for Rocco Commisso, the owner of the former New York Cosmos, also the owner of Fiorentina in Serie A, and that we are being paid to turn people against USSF. Did you notice the Columbus fans yelling for Zardes, then Weah scores to shut them up? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Columbus fans. They're going to be homers. I guess that's natural. Look, I wanted to talk a little bit about, it's not a huge issue, but the goal, right? Let's talk about the goal. We are still a little bit vulnerable on defensive transitions, right? And that was, for me, an example of a lot of people not, showing up. Dest could have done better on the cross. Steffen absolutely could have done better on the goal. And on the guy that scored it, I don't know whose job it was to pick him up. I don't know if it was Weston's or if it was Eunice's or if it was Adams. But both Eunice and Weston were caught behind the play. And that's just an area where we have to be better. Because remember, Costa Rica didn't have a lot of quality on the field today. But against better quality teams, we will get smashed more often for those liabilities defensively, right? And defensive transitions are important. And it's still something that we're going to have to work on. Adams does a great job of covering for a lot of it, but it's still an issue with us. And I think it's just something to be aware of going forward.
Yeah, we also need to stop allowing early goals, right? That happened also in Nations League final, and it's very dangerous because if Costa Rica wasn't so old, if it was like the Costa Rica team from maybe the past cycle, right, or the 2014 one, if they got an early lead, they would punish us, and we probably would have lost at home. Yeah. So we got to be careful with that. But props to the team for not letting that shake them up. Continue to play the same exact way and control the match.
Yeah. I agree. Do you have any more issues or questions you want to talk about?
Issues or questions? I mean, I guess the fact that Pariola was going to be a starter again is an issue. I know it didn't
Yeah.
happen, right? So technically it's not an issue, but the fact that it was even happening, to me, is an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that Greg still believes in a lot of these guys, these MLS lifers, who are not good players and who have continued showing that is an issue. And it could come back to bite us going forward. And that's just something we're going to have to be aware of with Greg. Paco Joe says, I love the April 11th episode where you talk about a 3-5-2 with Pulisic as second striker. Are there any other formations you guys would favor for the current USMNT? So, Paco, I would like to see us play 3-5-2 or 4-2-3-1. The reason I would like a 4-2-3-1 is because it gives us a little bit more of defensive stability because you have a partner for Adams, right? That partner could be Weston or it could be Eunice, right? But it would also allow us to play with a proper 10 on the field in Gio Reyna or Luca De La Torre, maybe even Busio down the line. And it also allows our guys who are natural wingers to tuck inside a little more. And I think it suits our player pool. So I would like to see 4-2-3-1 or 3-5-2. But Greg seems very set on either a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-2-1. What do you think, Tech?
Yeah, I don't think Greg. So essentially, what it is guys, what we really want is to eventually see a formation with a 10, an attacking midfielder, creator, or even a shadow striker. Even that would be two strikers almost up top. But it's not what Greg likes. Greg likes those wingers with a lone center forward, eights. He likes to play that way. Even though we did see a 3-5-2 today for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, not enough period of
Yeah.
time to actually, hang our hats on it. But yeah, there's definitely stuff that we could be better at. That is absolutely one of them. Is John Brooks secure in his spot as number one center back? Tack, you take this one.
Secure, no, because well, technically he's still the one with the best resume and in the best team and playing Champions League. So technically he would be on paper, but based off performance, so far, no. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's a bench player. He would still be my starter.
Yeah, I would start him for now, but the pressure is on him. With
Hmm.
good performances from Miles Robinson, from Chris Richards today, Zimmerman continuing to perform well. You don't want this is what we want, guys. We don't want anybody in the lineup getting too comfortable or being like, my spot is completely solid where no one can take it away from me. If your performance levels dip, that's fine. We have quality to replace you. So I think it's a good thing that we have competition for Brooks. And we need to see more of that. We need to see more players, elite players, getting uncomfortable. You know, it's a spot where we don't really have competition for right now. Well, two spots is the fullbacks. Who's our competition for Dest? Who even comes close to Dest? Nobody.
Um, yeah, I would say Scally, but he still has a lot to show.
Right. Like we could call Scally in for sure and start to give him minutes, but Cannon, Yedlin, Moore, none of them is even close. And same with A-Rob. Who's even close to A-Rob? Certainly not Bello.
Not
Certainly
Vines
not
either.
Vines. So who, right? And not Dest either. Dest, we've seen that. We don't want him on the left.
Pete, can I say one thing here real quick?
Yeah.
So for context here, we beat Honduras 4-1 away, which was a good result. Jamaica is beating Honduras away 2-0.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the team that beat us just lost 4-1 to to Canada. So a lot of stuff to think about for sure. All right. Let me see if I missed any super chats. Here, you can go ahead. We're just going to answer questions now, guys. So pop those chats in for sure. Let's see.
So right now, just to add something, we are now 5 points clear of the 5th place right now.
Right. That's great. That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I think if Mexico wins tonight, we'll be second, right? We're ahead of Canada now by 1 point, right?
Yeah, we're ahead of Canada, and that's all set because Canada already played 1 point. Mexico plays soon away against El Salvador. Not an easy game. El Salvador's been struggling this camp. So we'll see. We'll see. Probably Mexico will at least get a draw. Probably, but never know.
At least. I would not be surprised if they won. All right. Yeah, guys, let's see. What are people saying here? I'm actually rooting for Jamaica to finish fourth. All right, TS, I missed your super chat. Apologies here, TS. Mark McKenzie, Shaq Moore, and Sebastian Leggett running laps per Larry Henry Jr. So that's fairly normal. The guys who don't play after a game, they will oftentimes do sprints just to keep their fitness levels up. Does that make sense? If you don't play, it's a rest day for you. But generally speaking, you want all your guys on a similar load level. So you'll have them run sprints after a game. That's fairly common. Fairly common. Let's see. Anybody else? Give me your thoughts. Let's see. Fire Greg. Guys, look, Filippo and I are on record as saying that we don't think Greg is the right guy for this team and that he probably is holding us back in a lot of ways, many ways. But he's not going anywhere unless our World Cup qualifying is actually in jeopardy, which it won't be because we have too much quality. And there isn't enough quality in CONCACAF to challenge the top three right now, which is the US, Canada, and Mexico. He's not going anywhere. So as much as we don't like Greg, it's like he's there, and we're just hoping that this quality team of young players can continue to get minutes together, can continue to grow and learn, and hopefully Greg sets them up in such a way to be a success and doesn't give them too many instructions or complex tactics. That was something I noticed today a little bit in the second half, was a little bit of over dribbling from some players, from Dest, from Eunice, from Weston. And sometimes that happens when players are a little unsure of what they're supposed to do with the ball. If they're not clear on the plan, sometimes they tend to just over dribble because it's easier than to think about. Sometimes it happens when players are overwhelmed or overwhelmed with instruction and they can't remember what they're supposed to do. So they just go with their own instinct, or they don't trust the players around them, which I don't think that's what it was. But there is still questions about the tactics in this group. And
I think one thing to make it clear to everyone watching, one thing everyone can notice throughout the game is usually the eights, right? The dual eights that we have, they sometimes will often dribble too much as if they don't know, what do I do with the ball? They dribble into traffic quite a bit, especially the dual eights. Those were the most noticeable ones throughout the match.
Yeah, no, exactly. And guys, let's remember who this team is. And with the talent that we have with this team, we should keep our expectation and keep the bar really, really high. So far, we have not met those expectations in this World Cup qualifying campaign. And it has a lot more to do with the coaching and some of the players that he's used than a lot of these young, talented guys that we have. Valentina, sorry if I missed yours. Put it again in a normal chat and I'll answer it. WL says the defenders were a bit sloppy today. Thank God we won. I thought the back two were fine. There were some sloppy moments, but I think a lot of it was just not having played together before. And that takes time to develop an understanding, right? So from that pass to Miles, from Miles to Richards, that Costa Rica almost didn't almost score on. Richards wasn't expecting that pass. He thought it was going inside with it, and Costa Rica pounced. Now, a better quality team would have scored that, but thankfully, who's the Costa Rican guy again who had it?
Brian Ruiz.
Ruiz is so slow that Robinson is so explosive. That's the thing. He covers up for so much with his explosiveness.
Robinson is capable of recovering against the Mexico players that are super quick, agile, and fast. And then you have ancient Brian Ruiz trying to sprint that he's probably competing with me in regards to his speed at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Robinson just took it easy for Robinson.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, there was improvements we could have made defensively. I was mostly happy with those two on the day, though. Wonder if not running with a 10 is responsible for our struggles scoring in the first half. Mitch, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Until we play Gio Reyna as a 10, we will not unlock the full potential of this team. And I really believe that. I have believed that for a year now. I believed that before they started playing him as a 10 in Dortmund. I looked at Gio's skill set, and I said, this guy is a 10. This guy can do it all on the ball. This guy has Kevin De Bruyne potential, right? He really does. He's one of the top 10 under 20 players in the world right now, and I think he's only going to get better, and I hope that sooner or later we use him as a 10, or at least as in the middle, as a duo 8. Tack, you want to take this one?
What's your updated center forward ranking? Okay. Up to what? up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm assuming because he went with 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now still Ricardo Pepe, right? Not the greatest performance from Pepe today, but the kid's been scoring. I would keep him. I would still
Yeah.
start him.
Yeah.
My second one, if I'm gonna be quite honest, it's probably Josh Sargent. My second one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on Pepe. I still think we need to give Hoppy a chance, like a start
Oh
at,
yes, yes,
at the
yes.
9.
But wait, are we going based on our? It's ours. Oh,
Well, he
yours.
said,
Okay.
what's your updated
Okay,
CF
because
ranking?
Hoppy's a winger to Greg. It's more clear than ever to me now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna go Pepe, Hoppy right now because Sargent hasn't delivered. Then Hoppy, if he delivers, he'd stay. Josh Sargent. Then fourth option. My fourth option, I'm between DK and actually PFOC. And it's not because I think DK is better than PFOC, just offers something different. Not as
Mm.
static, makes those nice diagonal runs, and offers physicality. So I would probably have DK as my fourth.
Yeah. I'm going to put Zardes as my fourth. I don't like Zardes. I don't think he offers enough to this team, but I still think he's better than DK right now. All right. Let's see. Let's get all of these here. Dominic Pittman. If Ledesma can get back into rotation at PSV, could you see him at the January camp? Or do we have enough 8s? Yeah, I think at a January camp, though, Ledesma is not going to be there because PSV plays. So you won't see Ledesma in a January. Oh, you mean like the World Cup qualifying? I can't see it. We just have too many guys at that position already. Plus the guys that Greg loves, like Leggett. I can't see Ledesma getting into that camp.
And remember, Ledesma will probably have a slow season with PSV. It'll take a while. We'll probably be playing with the
He's
reserves.
been out for a year. He's been out for a full year.
And he's not like, he wasn't a starter. So they're not going to force it. It's going to be slow.
Yeah. Yeah. But good young player. I hope we don't lose him to Mexico. Carriel family. Couldn't we stay in 4-3-3 but have an 8 in more of a free role? Allow them to find space between lines and drift wide at times. Seems like Gio could thrive. Yeah, we can do that. Look, if you play in a 4-3-3 and you have dual 8s, they don't have to play the same role. You could have a Eunice or McKennie whose job is to hold their runs a little more and connect with Adams and then explode into the box late. And then you have a guy like Gio who has more freedom in and around the box, right? For sure you can play that way. Doesn't appear that that's how Greg wants to play, though. So as much as I would like, I think, though, you have to give a
Greg
guy
likes
like
symmetry.
What?
Greg is like one of those guys that loves symmetry. So the team has to be like symmetric. Everyone has to be doing the same runs.
Balance. Yeah, I think to really unlock Gio Reyna, you need to give him freedom as a 10. And that means a 4-2-3-1. But so long as he's playing centrally, honestly, I'll be happy to see that if we ever see it. Garland Skyrus. West 2 lacks in midfield. Been poor at Juve 2. You got to be more specific, Garland. When you say 2 lacks, what are you talking about? Right? I think defensively, he was fine. I thought he worked really hard. I thought there were times where he over dribbled or his passes didn't quite come off. But again, I just think that Weston isn't being really used properly. That's just my take on him. If you're asking him to help in the build out with pass, that's not his game. He did today what he thrives at doing, which is driving forward with the ball at his feet, using his explosiveness to create space and being a threat as a box-to-box sort of midfielder. But he's not going to be that guy that's very precise with his passing in the build out and, in tight spaces. That's just not who he is. Let's see. With Pulisic returning next leg, who starts as the other winger? Aronson or Areola? It doesn't matter because they are the same player. If Gio doesn't recover in time, I would not be surprised if we start Pulisic and Areola on the wings against Mexico. I would not be surprised at all. Would you?
If Areola is healthy. If he's healthy, probably.
Whatever his injury was, I don't think it was bad enough to keep him out for 3 or 4 weeks.
No, but he can just get another minor injury in like 3 weeks. He's getting these injuries every other week now.
Listen, look at this. Ross makes a good point. But watch him give away spots to Morris and Long when they're back yet, when we have a team of performers now. Yeah, because he's still talking about Morris. Greg Berhalter is still talking about Jordan Morris. It's like, Jordan Morris has been out for a year. We don't even know what he's going to look like when he comes back.
Third knee surgery.
Yeah.
Third.
Plus, we haven't even seen Conrad in this camp, who, by the way, is playing at a high level for Marseille, right? I just don't understand it. I don't understand. And you have Hoppy, who you're playing as a winger. Why do you need Morris? I don't know, man.
I did prefer a healthy Morris over Areola.
Sure. But I don't think Morris should factor in when we have
No.
the guys that we have, honestly.
No, not anymore.
Okay, Alex, Busio looked good tonight. How do you see him in your depth chart, and how do you think Greg sees him? I think for now he'll have to be an 8, guys. I don't think he's ready to be a lone 6. If you're going to play him deeper, I think he has to play in a double pivot. But I don't think that he's ready to take on the job of protecting that back line, especially in a very physical CONCACAF. So I think he has to play as a dual 8 if you're going to play him. And in the depth chart, Greg, how do I see him? I see him behind McKennie, Musa, and Gio.
He's a backup.
As a backup 8. Yeah. At least 4th, maybe 5th. We just haven't seen enough of De La Torre. I think De La Torre is an underrated player who's underappreciated because Greg doesn't like creative midfielders. He really doesn't. And I still would put, at this point, I would still put De La Torre ahead of Busio, but Busio had a very encouraging performance. What do you think, Tack?
I think Busio was fine. And to me, Busio is a roster spot backup. That's what I think he is right now.
Yeah.
Now, you know what's interesting about De La Torre is he's not even one of those midfielders that is like super risky, super creative, right?
No, he's not.
Greg is so he's like he wants to conserve possession so much that a little bit of like progressive play, he's like, anxiety, gives him anxiety, and he's like, no, take that guy out. It's like
it's so weird because he came on for the last 12 minutes against Jamaica and he creates 2 good, or at least 2 key line-breaking passes. One for Zardes that Zardes completely scuffed, and then one for Tim Weah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we never see him again. Hoppy comes on for the last 18 minutes, creates 2 chances. We're probably not going to see him in the next camp, if I'm being honest.
Well, the thing with Greg is it seems like these players that play creative and take risks, they give Greg anxiety and he just takes them out and doesn't want him to play. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish we would have seen more of De La Torre and Hoppy and Busio, all 3 of them. So, but look, we have depth, guys. We have quality and depth. The way that we see quality and depth is very different than the way Greg sees his quality and depth. I still think against this Mexico-Jamaica camp, I would not be surprised to see Areola, Leggett, Roldan, Acosta, and Zardes all in the roster. All of them, all 5. All
right. I want to talk about the marketing team of USSF as well.
Okay, real quick, and then we'll get into player ratings.
Go ahead. Oh, that one? Or do you have a super chat to go through before?
Which MLS players would you have on your ideal roster today? Okay, Matt Turner for sure. Miles Robinson for sure. Probably Walker Zimmerman based on recent performances on the roster. I wouldn't start him, but he'd be thereabouts.
Pepe.
Pepe, definitely. In midfield, I would probably keep Acosta on the roster for now while we look for a replacement, but I would have other options at the 6 after Adams there. So maybe Sands. I'd probably bring Sands in to try him at the 6. Left back is an issue.
Maybe DK? Maybe?
I wouldn't have DK right now.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Sargent than DK.
Sargent and Hoppy as options.
If I have Sargent, Hoppy, and Pepe up front. So about those 6.
At most.
Because I would bring Joe Scally as backup for the left back. I wouldn't bring Bello. Maybe Paredes if he continues to improve, but Paredes still has to work on his 1v1 defense.
So the thing, I wouldn't bring Sands. I'm less of a fan of Sands. Like, I just think that whatever Sands can do at the 6, he gets pushed around quite a bit. So I just put Busio at that point if I'm going to put Sands. Just what I would do.
I think Sands is better than Busio defensively. I want to at least try Sands as a 6, right? People remember that half against Honduras and it messes up with them, but everybody was bad in that game because of the way that Greg set them up. At some point, I think we should try Sands at the 6 because I think we have to try options. I'm open to trying Busio there. I have real questions about his physical limitations. Tessman is an option. Piss is an option. Leon Flack, maybe. Those are guys I think we should try, right? But yeah, those would be my 6 MLS guys, 5 or 6 guys, but no more than that, you know? Where do we go from here? Player
I was
rating.
just gonna say, who chose the only forward term with USSF?
Solo Palante.
Yeah, it seems like almost it's an attack on Greg, right? Just Greg, you got to go for. It's like, wait, is this a personal attack thing? Or it's almost like, you know how you get like a piece of paper and you write a reminder. It's almost they're like, Greg, right here, only forward, Greg. Stop with those players that can only pass back and take some risk, Greg. I'm just trying to figure out what their marketing team tried to mean, what they meant with that. So Valentina Esparza is saying you missed the super chat. She's been saying it for a while. So if she,
Sorry, Valentina. Valentina, put it again as a normal chat, and I will put it up
I'm
there.
keeping an eye here.
All right.
So
We'll keep an eye on it.
Can go to ratings if you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead straight to ratings. We'll start with Zack Steffen. I'm going to give Steffen a 4. I think he was partially culpable for that goal we conceded, and I don't think his passing was up to snuff. I don't think he was terrible, and he had some other good moments, but I'm still going to give him less than average because I think we have to expect better from our starting keeper.
I'm looking here because I'm also checking if she'll send the chat, but
Yeah.
I'm going to give Zack Steffen a 3, a little bit more harsh. I think I blame part, like you said, the goal has many different players to blame.
Yeah.
But I do blame him for the goal. I don't think he did anything special. And along with that, I don't think he was good on distribution, which was the one thing I was counting on him to be consistent or good at. So I'm giving him a 3. Turner, now I don't want Zack Steffen tested until I see him getting more minutes for his club.
Yeah, no, I agree. I honestly think at this point, I'd rather try Horvath than Steffen again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to right back. Serginho Dest, winning goal, largely a good game. Was partially culpable, I would say, on the goal, but overall I thought was really strong defensively. So I'm going to give him an 8. It was one of the better performances from Dest, along with his Jamaica performance. And he looked up for it today. I'm going to give him a strong 8.
Okay, I got the question here. I'm also going to give him an 8 as well. We can't, even though he got the goal and an assist, there was problems at times and partial blame for the goal.
Oh, he did get the assist on Weah's goal, right?
Yeah, he got the assist for Weah too. It was a nice pass too for him. But I'm going to give him an 8 as well because partial blame for the goal as well. At the beginning of the game too, he had some heavy touches, kept losing the ball until he started to heat up.
Yeah.
So Chad Van Brunt said that Valentina had a good question. She said that Greg was like Osario hurting the team by rotating Osario.
Yeah, Jonathan
Osario
Mexico coach.
Hurting the team by rotating too much.
Yeah, but it's not just rotating too much. It's the guys he chose to rotate with, right? If we're talking about the Panama game, you made 7 changes, which was probably too many, but it was also the guys that you played together while you ignoring De La Torre, Hoppy, Richards, etc., right? Pepe even could have started because he only played 60 minutes. So, yeah, there's definitely issues with that. And we'll talk about Greg at the end of the stream, but let's continue with the player ratings. I'm sorry, Valentina, we missed that one, but hopefully that helps. Let's get into Miles Robinson. I'm going to give Robinson a solid 7 because I don't think he was perfect. I thought he had some gaffes, but he was able to recover right from them. He uses his athleticism a lot to make up for his mistakes, and that's fine up to a point. At an elite level, though, if you make those mistakes against France, your athleticism is not going to make up for it. So I'll give him a 7. He was good, not great. There's still questions for me about Miles.
And I think Miles is the great center back you need in CONCACAF. Not that I want to go the whole CONCACAF route, but when you get to the World Cup, the ideal pair is probably Brooks and Richards when it's World Cup. Because those players, 3. Yeah, those two are facing the competition or facing the World Cup. But Miles Robinson, the athleticism, the physical, the way he imposes himself for CONCACAF, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 7.5. And I'm actually going to go 2 here. I'm going to go 7.5 for Robinson and 7.5 to Richards. In my opinion, they had similar performances. Richards was key in certain moments and made some silly mistakes. One of them that even Weston had to track back and recover for him and stop the counter. But I thought both were very good when tested, recovered well, played well. I liked Richards on the ball way more than Miles Robinson on the ball.
Yeah.
But I'm giving both a 7.5. Both were good today.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to give a 7.5 to Richards as well on his competitive debut. I think some of the issues, though, were a lack of them ever having played together before,
Yes.
which is why we called for them to start together against Jamaica to build some chemistry, right? And then we have Anthony Robinson, who I thought was a little hit and miss with his crosses, but I thought his defending was good. I thought in the build out he was good, because many times in the build out I thought he was actually really, I'm going to give him a 7.5 as well, because he was always bombing forward, was always an option, didn't always get the right cross off, but sometimes he did. Maybe that final ball was lacking. I think it was enough to give him 7.5.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be more strict on Robinson. He needs to get those crosses.
Yeah.
He was so off the ball. He was good. He was finding space. He was
Yeah.
getting those options. He was able to get the crosses in, but it always seemed like he was hitting. It seemed like he was like kicking the ball into the box rather than crossing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
kicking it in. It was weird. But 6, he was good, above average for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Tyler Adams. I'm going to give Tyler Adams a 9. I thought he protected that back line really well, and every time we lost the ball, he was there cleaning up. So much of what Tyler Adams does is unnoticed, but he reads the game so well, and he steps into danger before it becomes a real problem. Could he maybe have done better on the goal? It's hard for me to say, because I don't know what Greg had as their defensive responsibilities. But as a captain today, he was excellent right up until the very end. He was fighting for every ball, and I just think he's one of our most important players at this point. So I want to give him a 9.
I'm gonna go with an 8, the same as Dest. The reason for that is Dest, I bumped it down because he made a mistake, a few, right? But he scored and he got an assist. Tyler didn't score or get an assist, but Tyler also didn't make mistakes. He protected the back line, connect the ball, did his job. And until you said, he's not flashy, right? He doesn't score, doesn't do tricks. It's just that. So sometimes you'll say, did Tyler do much today?
No, he did, man.
He did a lot today. So I'm giving him an 8. Very good performance again.
Yeah, I think he's so underrated for us, and is very good as our captain. For me, he should be our captain when everybody's healthy. Mm-hmm. Let's get into Weston McKennie. You start on McKennie.
So McKennie for me, this is the one thing we disagreed. I thought he wasn't good in the first half. I didn't like Weston in the first half. Overall, heavy touches, too much dribbling, and could be some of the tactics the issue, but overall, individually, I didn't like him. But I thought he was very good in the second half. Much more aggressive, was able to get many steals, was good in transition, recovered for Chris Richards once and saved the counter. Because of that, I am going to give Weston a 6. So above average performance. I think he made up for it. In my way I saw it, he made up for it in the second half.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think he was much better in the second half than he was in the first half. I just think when Weston's on the field, you can't try to pinhole him into a certain role that doesn't suit him, because that's when he's going to be a problem. But yeah, he could have done better. I'm going to give him a 6. Good or decent, pretty good, especially in that second half. Not great. I thought so many times, though, in that second half, he drove us forward and was able to get balls in behind, was able to be a threat on the dribble. Eunice Musa was the opposite of Adams. Of Weston. Really good in the first half. Faded. I think he got tired in that second half, and that's understandable. I'm going to give him an 8. No, I'm going to give him a 7.5. I thought he was a real threat in that first half, always combining with Dest, good in possession. His ability when he's under pressure to just turn and explode past his man to get away from pressure is really underrated.
He likes those hip moves. He does those hip moves,
And he's still just 19.
Yeah, I'm going to give Musa a 7, and it's mostly because of the first half, right? Second half, he was invisible for the couple minutes he was there. Clearly gassed out. He was just tired, and then he got subbed off. I'm going to give him a 7. Was another strong performance by Eunice, and he's making a case to be a starter. If you're not going to start Gio Reyna centrally, Eunice Musa made a case right there.
Well, it's got to be those 3. If you don't have Gio Reyna, it has to be those 3 for me, at least for right now, with the possibility of trying to integrate De La Torre, but that's a different discussion. Okay, let's go out to the wings. Brenden Aronson. I thought Brenden Aronson was busy today and hustled a lot, but you could tell he was tired, man. You could tell that he didn't have the legs, and oftentimes his final ball was poor. Oftentimes just his decision-making under pressure wasn't as good as it could have been. I'm going to give Aronson a 6, but not more.
Same. 6. Above average because I can't say he was bad. The work rate was there, which people love to use as an excuse for Paul Riola. But remember, Aronson, when he had the ball, he also was able to getting out of tight spaces to clear up. And so, but I didn't think Aronson was the best today. And it could be what you said. He was just exhausted. So I'm going to
Yeah.
give him 6, a slightly above average performance.
Yeah, exactly. And then Weah. Now, I would have had Weah as a 6 because unlike Aronson, I don't think Weah was as busy on the ball. But if you watch the game again, Weah does a lot of things off the ball that go unnoticed. So oftentimes his movement creates space for other players. And that is something that you don't always see. For example, when he got his goal, as soon as Costa Rica gives that ball away, before it even gets to Dest, Weah is already on the move, providing what Greg likes to call verticality. And because he's already on the move, Dest doesn't have to wait. He plays that ball in behind so quickly. And it's that off-ball movement that creates chances. I don't think he was as much of a threat with the ball as some other people, but getting the goal, or at least forcing the own goal, if that's what we want to call it, bumps him up to a 7 for me.
Okay, before I give his rating, let's just, when we talk about Greg, remind me to talk about how Greg was going to take Weah out right before he scored.
For who? For who is he going to take him out for?
It was Hoppy was coming in
Hoppy was coming
for
in.
Weah, and then Weah scored, and then he kept Weah a little bit more fair.
Yeah, and also that Weah wasn't supposed to be on the field.
Yes,
right?
He wasn't.
Like he wasn't even supposed to be on the field because it was supposed to be Areola. So as if Taylor Twellman called it blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I'm 7.5, a little bit above. He scored a goal, almost had a brace, almost got a second goal before leaving. Remember?
That is true.
Yeah, almost got a brace. Nice shot. 7.5.
Yeah. After that, we go to Ricardo Pepe. Not the best game from Ricardo Pepe today, but a lot of that, I think, when we're rating Ricardo Pepe, we have to understand the kind of player that he is, right? If you want him to do a lot of hold-up work, I think he can do it. I don't know if it's his game, though. I think he's more of a poacher right now. And as a poacher, if you give him chances, he'll score. He had that one chance off of Hoppy that Hoppy created for him, but that was blocked by the defender. I think it was a quieter game from Pepe today. I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5.5 just to say it's a little above average because I remember also he set up that play for Timothy Weah to get a dangerous cross that we almost scored in the first half. And again, it's what you said. He's the type of player that he relies at the team creating for him. He's not going to get the ball and dribble past the guy. You need to create the opportunities, and he's there to score them, and he's been doing that very well. So 5.5, slightly above average, not really his fault, to be fair.
Yeah. I'll give him a 5. Let's talk about subs. The subs I thought were mostly strong performances today. First one that came on was Hoppy, right? And I thought Hoppy had a good game. Was a threat almost every time he got the ball. Had almost a goal from a header that was coming right to him, but the Costa Rican goalie punched it away. That would have been a nice finish on him. Created 2 chances in 17 minutes, one for Busio, one for Pepe. I want to see more of Hoppy, and I want to see more of Hoppy as a 9. I'm giving him a strong 7.5.
Same rating, same reasons. Limited minutes, but was effective in limited minutes, and I don't remember him doing anything wrong. Also,
yeah. The next sub was Deandre Yedlin for Dest. I think Dest was either injured or exhausted. How do you think Deandre Yedlin did?
So his support on offense was not his crossing, right? Well, he did provide the cross to Hoppy, essentially. No, it was Busio, actually, that crossed that. He was just Yedlin, right? Just like running a lot of effort, and not the best crosser, not the most talented or technical player on the ball. But he didn't do anything wrong, so I can't really criticize him for his performance. He was Yedlin.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. I'll give him a 6. But he wasn't, he didn't change the game, didn't do anything of real note, but was solid, did his job, didn't get beat defensively. Again, it's Costa Rica. You have to, but it's this game.
And they were tired.
And they were tired, and they have very little quality in that attack, especially without Joel Campbell. Walker Zimmerman came on to sort of, close out the game, did his job. It was late, though.
Busio.
Oh, no, Busio was first. You're right, Busio. Busio, I liked him. I thought he was really good on the ball. And yes, the caveat of Costa Rica getting tired, but based on his performance, I'm going to give him a 7.5 like Hoppy.
I think I'll go the same route. I'm not trying to copy paste you, but I
No, you're
think it's
fine.
fair. I think Busio was fine today. Yeah.
Busio, and then it was Zimmerman and Zardes. Now, both of them had very.
I like Zardes though. Today I liked Zard.
No, Zardes
Not.
did well in his
Yeah.
last 15 minutes. He worked hard, right? He created that chance for Hoppy to set up Busio through hard work. I mean, it was a loose ball, but he won it. He won the duel at least, and then put a cross in. It's the first time I've seen Zardes do something really strong on the ball in a while. I still don't think Zardes should be in our top 2 consideration or even top 3, but he was good. I'm going to give him a 7.
Yeah, even though it's limited minutes. So Zimmerman, it's hard to rate because we barely saw him.
Yeah.
But Zardes came in for like 5 minutes, but it seemed like he was there for a while. Did a lot of
Yeah.
things.
He did a lot of good things in limited time. I'll give Zimmerman a solid 6 because he was
I'll
better
give
than,
yeah.
he
I'll go
did his
Zardes
job.
7, Zardes 7, and Zimmerman a 6, just because he came in and didn't do any mistakes. It's kind of weird that Zardes in limited minutes. I don't want to see him again. I want to
Yeah.
make that clear. But today, when he came in, he was very active. Got knocked out once and somehow got up.
Yeah.
Got freaking rocked, and he created that play too in limited minutes. He was able to find that. So good for Zardes today.
Yeah. And now Greg. I liked the lineup, and I liked the subs, and I liked, his management of the game. I was not happy that Areola started again, and that our potential goal scorer would not even have been on the field if it was for that. I also would have wanted to see more De La Torre, but overall got the win. I'm going to give Greg an 8 today.
Yeah, I'll be a little nicer. I'll give him an 8.5 because Areola was out. If he had played, so technically
But that's
he did.
not on Greg. That's my point.
Yeah, he was forced to
He
take
was
out
forced. Like
Areola.
Weah was forced to be on the field. He was going to start Areola for a 3rd consecutive game.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8 because despite that, Areola is just one problem. And then throughout the game, he didn't put, besides Zardes, but then it was also towards the end, probably just to throw him in Columbus as well and put him some energy. But he didn't put Roldan, didn't put Acosta, didn't even put Leggett on the bench. Started Richards, which we wanted. Destin Robinson once again, Pepe, gave Hoppy minutes, gave Busio minutes. De La Torre was a problem that he didn't play in, but overall, yeah, 8. Greg was good, and he got the win.
And he got the win, which keeps us in the top 2 probably. So, guys, Mexico starting now. We're going to let you all go. I am going to break down this whole video on Patreon tomorrow. Tack will do his 7 things we learned from this game also tomorrow. Now, on Friday, myself, Tack, Justin Moran from Stars and Stripes, who we had on my video before, as well as Meg Swanek, who a lot of you know. She was on Sam's channel. She is a very good reporter. The 4 of us are going to break down the entire camp, right? Not just game by game. We're going to look at it from a bird's eye view. So prepare for those videos tomorrow from Tack, and then Friday from all of us, and then Patreon for me tomorrow.
Are you releasing it on Friday?
We're recording and releasing right after.
Got it.
So we'll record Friday morning, and then we'll release it. Just because I want to do it close to the camp before people move on, to the weekend and European performances. But thanks for coming to hang, guys. We have a couple quick super chats here. How much of a mandate do you think Triple G or USMNT or any USMNT coach has from USSF to feature X amount of MLS-based players? Otherwise, why consider Morris? So it's what Tack and I have always said. We don't think there's a specific number of you have to have 7 players or 10, but I think there's considerable pressure from some to include MLS players. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there's some pressure, and there's no order, there's no mandate, there's no contract, there's nothing like that. I find that very unlikely, but pressure, political pressure, yeah,
for sure.
Somehow, I don't know how, but yes. Yeah,
I mean, Don Garber's on the USSF board. Carlos Bocanegra, who runs Atlanta United, is on the USSF board. Like, there's definite. Will Wilson, the CEO of US Soccer, is a former SUM employee. Like, it's an unholy relationship, right? Let's just talk.
Greg is an MLS guy. Just go.
Greg is an MLS guy, right? So there's definitely that. Chris Cosenza, Miles has another gear no USMNT defender needs to be on the field. I agree, Chris, especially in CONCACAF. He's not perfect, right? I like his explosiveness. I like his athleticism. He still has things he can work on. And I'm sure he's still young for a defender, right? He's 24. He can still improve. One area he can improve on is distribution, for example, right? But I agree with you, especially in CONCACAF. He's a useful guy. He should absolutely be starting most of our games, or at least a lot of them, right? Any other super chats here? I don't think so. If I missed one, guys, I apologize. Thank thanks for coming to hang out. It was 6 points, not the camp we wanted, but also not the end of the world. And there are still issues, and we'll talk about Greg, and there are still question marks and concerns that we should have. But today we can celebrate the win. We can celebrate the 6 points. Guys,
50% there. 50% there. We're halfway there.
Halfway to qualifying for the World Cup. Thanks for coming to hang out, guys. Good to see you all here. Go watch Mexico, El Salvador, and have a great one. We'll see you guys soon.